Hello, everyone. My name is CCP Lumi, and today I am joined by CCP Junison and CCP Fuzzy to talk about all things mining.
Hello,
Guys,
hello.
say hello.
Hey.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Very welcome. I'm glad you guys are here with me because you know way more about this than I do, so you guys get to do all the explaining. Before we do so, can you please introduce yourself, CCP Fuzzy?
Sure. I'm CCP Fozzy. I'm one of the senior game designers on the EVE Online team. For this upcoming Catalyst expansion, I've primarily been working on some of our UI UX changes to mining.
Yeah, and my name is CCP Unison. I'm a UI UX director here at CCP, and I help the teams navigate the UI UX side of things, and been working closely with the team on the changes here.
It is good to have you both here. So if we're talking about mining UI in space, what do we think about CCP Unison?
I think this time around, what we really wanted to focus on and change was just to make the experience more immersive. That's one thing, and also to bring more relative information to the player when they need it. That was like the main focus on the UI UX side of things. What about
I think those are very good points. The EVE has just so much information available in the game, knowing things like how much different ores are worth, knowing things like which modules are going to be best for what types of mining, is something that as a veteran player you learn and you get all memorized, and then you're all well and good. But especially for newer players, especially for people that are maybe experienced in other areas of the game but new to mining, there was a lot of room to improve the UI communication of all that information. So we've added some new features that make it just easier to learn about what's going on around you and make good choices.
So if I talk about me personally, I have tried a bout of mining with some of my characters, and my biggest problem is figuring out which ore is valuable and which one is not, and then specifically in a site, which one of the many asteroids do we pick?
Yes.
This is going to help with that, right?
That is one of the biggest focuses we had for this expansion, and we, I think, have come up with a feature that players are going to be very happy with for communicating at a glance and then in detail what type of value you can expect from different ores, especially relative to each other. So if you know you're faced with, oh, look, there's dense feldspar and there's scordite, which one of those is going to be the most valuable? That's a very common thing that a new player might be presented with in a high-sec belt. And there is a correct answer right now with the current market prices at scordite, and this UI will make it a lot easier for players to learn that.
All right, then, I mean, we can talk about it at length, but I think we're just going to show it off.
Yes, indeed.
That's why you've got the laptop in front of you, so let's use it.
So I'm going to go ahead and warp us to a mining anomaly. This is one that we've spawned in this space on the test server for us to take a look at. And this particular mining anomaly, I'll note, is one that is going to be spawning in HiSec as a rare spawn starting with the expansion. So this is a site that has existed in its previous forms in HiSec, but we're bringing it back and with a big facelift. So if you take a look around, this is a much more impressive looking version of the large kernite and amber deposit. And this site is one that if you are scanning around, traveling from system to system in HiSec, you might now find if you're nice and lucky. And I'm here in a retriever, and we're about to show off one of the new features, which is this right here. This is the mining surveyor. So it is a new built-in feature that all mining ships from ore and all of the Empire corvettes have. And it really does a lot of the job that used to be dedicated to a specific module, the survey scanner, but it does it in a much more visual way. So I'll go ahead and activate it, and you'll be able to see. It scans out in a big radius around and highlights the asteroids in the area around us, and it color codes them. So you can see in the tooltip here, it does relative ore value, with low being the blues and then yellows as the high end, basically like a heat map type of concept. And you can see at a glance which asteroids are going to be the higher value. So in this particular site, you can see amber here is the higher value, and kernite is, oh, there you go. Actually, this one is showing the amber higher grade ones as being lower value, but that's because of the fact that people buy amber for running missions to trade in. We're actually looking at improving some of these estimates to use the refined value. At the moment, this is using the average market trade value on the market, which tends to look very good for base amber and not quite as good for the high-end versions because of those mission purchases. But as you can see here, there's another set of information that we've placed into the UI. This is information that appears when you have the mining surveyor active. You can see the estimated value per meter cubed, so you can compare apples to apples, even if ores have different volumes. You can see which is going to give you the most money per minute. You can see in this case, because I've got an upgraded version of the scanner, the total estimated value of the entire rock and the quantity of the rock as well. So I'm going to go ahead and target it. And now that I've targeted, I can see the exact value, and I'll go ahead and start mining.
So maybe just to mention a little bit, there are a few things that we're seeing here. So like first off, like we're coming into the belt, and the moment when you're like scanning something is a really cool moment. You like press scan, and we wanted to just make that experience a little bit better. And also, like Jose said, like we're taking the scanner and we're adding it to all the mining ships now in game. So it's not, you don't have to have the module installed for it. We just want people to be able to experience this. And I think it's really cool to be able to like, we added made a lot of effort to make it cool, but also just to have some functionality behind it. I think we got a good job on that.
The fact that it highlights the mineable asteroids as well. So you can see the highlight has disappeared now because it fades out after a little while, but you can always press the button again. Oh, there it is, got a crit. We'll talk about that later. But I'll activate the mining surveyor again, and you can see I refresh it. You get the nice audio, which is actually a slightly different audio for every asteroid that it passes, every asteroid type.
Yep.
And you can see it highlights the asteroids that are mineable and separates them out from the asteroids. Like this over here is a decorative asteroid station asset. You can't actually mine this, even though it looks a bit like an asteroid. And that can be something that can be a bit tough to realize sometimes. Same out here, where this is a mineable asteroid, but the thing behind it there isn't. And the highlighting makes it much easier to see which things are mineable in your scene and which ones aren't.
Now I'm also seeing just above your ship a little circle icon that is slowly filling up. Can you tell me about that one?
So this is a new indication for your mining hold. So I'll hover over it and you can see it's got 15% listed there. And this is letting me know how much of my mining hold is filled up. It's a nice at-a-glance representation that you can see, and it'll, it fills up, you'll see it, and then it'll actually turn yellow when it's almost, or orange when it's almost full, and then brighter orange when it's full. And then if you zoom out, then it gets out of the way there. But if you zoom back in, then it's right there, ready for you to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I think this is also a really good point talking about this, because like also the brackets that we have here is all like serving the purpose of getting more information in the scene. So it's like taking all of the information we have in windows and scattered around places and making it so that players have information, like looking at the ship, looking at the asteroids, you know, the Eve is so beautiful. So we want players to be able to like just enjoy the scene more and get the information there. So that's like one of the like big overarching things that we're doing, and really happy that we're able to push for that in this feature.
Yep.
And I also want to talk about a little bit we're calling it the expanded bracket. So in here, like when you select the asteroid, you get this information, like Fosse was saying, and in here you like, you know, again, like in the scene, you just click it and you can see it like quite quickly. So this is something that we're starting with here, but we want to introduce in other places in the game. So like being able to like interact with something, get more information about it just there right away. You don't have to right click and get show info or anything like that. So that's something we're really happy with.
And having information like the quantity of the asteroid here, this is information that if you had the survey scanner before, it was available, but it's now in the space scene, just you don't have to have it in a separate window. But if you still want it in a separate window, we have the ability to open the scan results window, and then you get a window that is very familiar for folks who have used the survey scanner before, that works very much the same, except it's got more information. It's got that value per unit, it's got the total value for the asteroids. You can sort and see which asteroids within this have the highest value, which is most, in this case, quantity, and how far away they are.
And
this
shows
still has all the same functionality.
This shows all the asteroids in the site, right? Not just the one. Obviously, not just the one you have targeted.
So this shows all the asteroids that you've got scanned. And again, works very much like the old survey scanner, except one of the big differences is this survey scanner doesn't have a limited range anymore. So we've had some ships that have had bonuses to survey scanner range, and those are just being rolled back, and they're going to have bonuses to the other scanners. But this survey scanner just has great range. And you don't need to do anything to upgrade it. One thing that we've done for all the people that had the survey scanner module, we've turned it into a new module. So there's now a new passive module called the Mining Survey Chipset. And this gives you some extra information. So if you didn't have something like this, or if you weren't in a fleet with a command ship like a Rorqual or an Orca, then you wouldn't get the exact details of the quantity. You'd still get the estimated value. So that would be something that you would have built in no matter what to the mining ship. But then this module gives you that upgrade information, shows you the quantity details, and also gives you bonuses to your critical success yield bonus, your critical success chance, and your chance of getting residue on a mining cycle. So this is just going to be a generally useful mid-slot passive module that miners can fit.
Now, these mining crits, we already saw one pop up earlier, but what exactly do they do?
Yeah, so it's a random extra special success you can get on any mining cycle with a mining laser. I'll go ahead and show info on the strip miner here, and you can see there's some new attributes, and these will be appearing on all of the different mining lasers, including ice mining lasers and gas harvesters as well. And you can see here at the moment, because of I've got a skill trained, there's 2 new skills related to this that have been added, and I've also got the mining survey chipset module. I've got a 1.8% crit chance, and then when I do get a crit, I get a 300% bonus yield. So on top of the normal yield that I would get from that mining laser cycle, I get an extra 300%. So I basically get 4 times the ore, and that extra 300% doesn't get consumed from the asteroid. That's
Sweet.
just, it's basically your laser has successfully found more ore in there than you expected. A survey scan error in your favor, if you will.
I do like that. And for those of us who have done mining in the past, we can also see that the mining cycles are quite a bit faster than they used to be,
indeed.
right?
Yeah, so we've gone through and sped up the mining cycles for all of the standard mining lasers and strip miners, not for ice harvesters, because those have a bit of a distinct role as a slower module for a bit more of a chill vibe. But for the ore mining lasers and for the gas harvesters, they now operate faster. For the mining lasers, it's about 4 times faster. And that means that each cycle is about 1/4 the duration, and then gives you 1/4 the amount of yield. So you get the same yield over time, but just in smaller chunks. You get faster feedback. It's a shorter amount of time between when you start mining and when you start having things in your hole, basically. So you get a bit more instant gratification. And connected to that, we've changed the way that some of the rounding works when you have remainder left over after the yield of your mining lasers. In the past, that's always rounded down, and that's been something that's been in place since 2003 in EVE. But we've changed that to be a randomized system that takes into account the probability relationship with the amount of remainder you had. So you now will get, on average, the same amount of ore that it says on the tooltip. You'll get this much volume per 45 seconds on average, even though the ore that you're mining doesn't divide perfectly into that number. It means you'll sometimes get 1 extra unit to make up the difference.
Now, you mentioned that for the ice miners, the cycles are not going faster, but for gas mining and ice mining in particular, are all these features going to be on those sites as well? Or is
They
it
are
just
indeed. Yep.
asteroids?
So mining crits will be applying to them as well. The mining cycle speed doesn't change, but things like the survey chipset applies to them. Things like the mining hole UIs and the scanning, you'll be able to look at which ices in an ice mining site are giving you the highest value using the mining surveyor. All that applies to them as well. Yeah.
Sweet. It will definitely help the learning curve, I think.
Yes, indeed.
Now, one other thing that I noticed was on your targeted asteroid, I also see a little circle counting down.
Yes.
Is that the amount of ore that's left in it?
Yes, it is. So we've essentially taken the amount of quantity of ore left in the asteroid and treated it like hit points and placed it in the targeted item. So you can see as it goes down as you're mining it, and you'll see as other people are mining it as well, it'll continue to drop. It's a little bit small, so you have to look very closely to see it, but also as you mine, you can see little bits disappear, and if you get a crit, you'll see a bigger bit disappear, and it also lets you know when there's residue too. So you'll see a little bit of the residue reflected there when you get it as well.
We used to have that in the scene as well. I think in the mass test it was like in the circle in the asteroid, but we got some feedback that like it started to become a bit too overwhelming having all of that stuff there. So yeah, it made sense to keep it in there.
That's actually a really good point, because I believe it was 2 weeks ago right now-ish, sort of, when we did the mass test on CC, where everyone got access for a little bit to try and help us out with developing this feature. Were there any other points of interest that you noticed during that mass test that we took on board right now? And
Yeah, there absolutely was. One good example is back then, this scale of colors from low to high value had green in the middle instead of being more white in the middle. And we got some feedback from players that they're finding that confusing because green can easily be construed as just being the best, right?
Green is good.
Yeah, green is positive. And so we made some adjustments to this color scheme for that. Like Unison said, we moved the actual mining volume remaining up into the targeted item. And then there was a number of other tweaks related to things like the crits, for instance, compared to that version, are rarer but bigger. So they're more impactful when they happen.
Sounds good. So we really do enjoy having these mass tests and hearing from the players to see how we can make things better.
Yeah. I'm going to show you one other thing that we can talk about some of this stuff along the way. So I'm going to go ahead and warp to an asteroid belt. One thing that we've seen a lot, especially for new players, though this is a cool thing that should be fun for other players as well, is that it's very easy to warp to a asteroid belt in a high-sec system that's maybe very busy, like one of the starter systems, and it's already been mined out by other players that day, or already been mostly mined out. And it can be a little bit confusing to know what's going on. You land at the location, and you don't see any asteroids, and it's not necessarily very clear. So what we've done is we've added a new little bit of introductory messages to warping into an asteroid belt that we're going to see once we land that lets you know what asteroid belt you've landed on, and then gives you some information in a rough sense about how mined out that location is. And this will apply to anomalies when you warp right to them as well, but also to asteroid belts. You're going to see here in a moment once warp drive factor disappears. There we go. So this is letting you know the depletion status, large end touch. This is one that people haven't mined in yet, but if it's already mined out, that'll let you know. And that's just a nice little bit of extra world building that it gives you some information about where you are. And this is something that if it's well received for this feature, we'd really like to expand to other things. Like this is the kind of message that would be great to see when you warp to a narrative landmark, for instance.
Yeah,
For sure.
yeah, exactly. So like super cool, just making the moment a bit more like more nicer. And like we have, I don't know if you noticed, but when you were warping in, we have like a little bit of a camera control where it's focusing on the belt. So yeah. Super excited about that.
I've scanned these asteroids as well, and you can see the high-value Mercoxit there stood out a little bit with the yellow. One other thing you'll notice when you're looking at these is we've changed some of the naming of these asteroids. So another thing that's very confusing for a lot of players, both new and old, is you have to memorize a whole lot of adjectives when you're mining Eve right now. Knowing the difference in what is dense Veldspar versus condensed scordite, all of these different prefixes that represent plus 5%, plus 10%, plus 15% variations of the different ores. It's something that's great if you've memorized them all, but nobody really has them all memorized. And so we've simplified this hugely. Now you see the standard ore, and then you see a different grade label on them that's set up in a way that it's nice and easy to sort by, both in space and in your inventory, if you want to be able to sort it by name that way. And then we've put a lot of the information about what the names used to be, because a lot of these had narrative storyline connections, into the descriptions. So we've preserved the narrative of the game in the descriptions, but in the names we've just simplified it right down. So you know 2 grade is better than having no prefix, and 3 grade is even better than that.
Sounds nice and easy to me. Now, there's one more thing that we have done to make things nice and easy.
Yes, indeed. But for that, actually, I'm going to warp to another location here, because for that, you need to be near a command ship.
You do indeed.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and warp to another character here that's at a different site. And that character is in a Rorqual. And so we're going to show you a new command burst we've added, and also a new shortcut that we've added. So in the general here, you'll see you have a new option for compress all ore in current ship. And so this will be by default unlinked, but if you want to link it, I'll set it to Control-C for this test. No, I gotta go edit shortcut, Control-C. There we go.
You'll be Control-Alt-C, because Control-C, as always, is copy.
Yes. And you can set it to whatever you want. If this is something that we could potentially in the future give a default key as well, but we're going to start out with just having the standard. One thing to note here about the command bursts here, so we're getting some command bursts from this Rorqual. All of the mining command bursts give you the enhanced mining scanner. So the version of the mining scanner that gives you the information about the quantity of the asteroids that you need to either have the survey chipset fit, or you need to have any command burst from any command chip, mining command burst from any command chip. And so that's a really easy thing to get if you fly with fleets. So here's the scanner active. On this is a nullsec large Veldspar site. So I'll let that scan again and let you see the animation play over it. I will go ahead and mine some of this very high quality 4th grade Veldspar here. This is the plus 15% variation.
Nice.
This is formerly known as stable Veldspar. And I'm going to get some more bursts here in a moment. One thing to note is, I think I might have run out of ammo on some of the other ones. Oh, no, there you go. I'm about to get another one in a second here, and it's going to show that we've added a new command burst that, in addition to the existing selection, a new set of ammo for the command burst that gives you extra crit chance and reduces residue. So another good reason to use a command chip like a Rorqual or a Orca or a Porpoise. But here is my cargo hold, my mining hold. I've got some Omber, I've got some Veldspar, and I can just go ahead and hit Control-Alt-C, and there you go. Because I got the Rorqual,
So much space.
all the space in the world, and hit it again. There you go. So now we've added that, and you can compress immediately with a shortcut.
And just keep on mining.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why the other one hasn't loaded yet, but that is running passively on another machine, so it might have run out
That
of
has
ammo.
been running for a little while
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
so maybe it has
But
just
yes,
run
there's a new
out.
command burst. It adds crit chance, and it adds it reduces your residue chance as well. So
Can you find it in the info window?
I
Maybe
probably
so we can
can,
pull up the show
yes.
info on it.
It's it should be mining efficiency charge. There we go. Here you are. Increases chance of critical success and decreases the chance of residue. And so you can see there it's got the wrong bonus listed on this. So there you go. There's a bug on the messaging here. This is applying the right thing, but it's just got the UI not hooked up correctly. So that's why. But this is the one that you'll be able to use on launch
We'll
day.
make a note of it and have it fixed.
Yes, indeed.
All right. Do either of you two have anything else that we missed talking about? Have we covered everything?
I think it covers everything on my end, at least.
Yeah, and I think this is, obviously there's other mining features coming in this expansion. We're going to be showing you some of those in just a moment with the next guest. But these features are set up to be able to be usable by everyone doing any kind of mining, whether you're mining the new sites, you're mining the old sites. The hope here is that just the mining experience will be better across the board.
And any type of space, right?
Yes, in any type of space. No matter where you're mining, you'll get access to the new surveyor, you'll get access to the faster cycles, to the new modules, to the new skills, and you'll be able to use them to improve your mining experience.
Sweet. Then I will thank both of you for your time. Thank you for coming on and explaining what is about to happen. We are going to go to a quick holding screen, and we're going to switch out guests, and we'll have CCP Nomad and CCP Kestrel here in a few minutes. Thank you, guys.
Awesome.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope this short break didn't confuse you too much. For now, I've got CCP Nomad and CCP Kestrel here with me, and they are here to talk about the phased fields and the prismaticite. Gentlemen, will you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm CCP Nomad, senior game designer. I've been working on the features related to new mining sites this cycle. How about you?
Yeah, I'm CCP Castro. I'm a fresh game designer now. I was QA before. I've been mostly working on some of the new sites in HiSec and the new mining ships this cycle.
Maybe to just start off with the new sites in HiSec. We were just in one. You saw the large Kernite and Umber site. Those are going to be in HiSec, right?
Yes, they will be in HiSec, but they'll be pretty rare. So you'll probably find them on average one every 16 to 17 systems. Although we did also make them a bit more common around the shipcaster systems in HiSec. So if you want to mine Umber, it might be good to go to those systems.
That is really good knowledge to have. I happen to know where the Amar shipcaster is, so maybe I'll do some mining soon. Maybe just for those of us that don't really remember having Umber and Kernite sites in HiSec, we removed them a little while ago and now they're back. Can you tell me what the added benefit of that is?
Yeah, so one of the things we wanted to do was add an exciting anomaly to HiSec Because right now the high-sec anomalies are all static. Like ice fields always respawn in the same system all the time on a set timer. And then we do have like the really rare, rare border site that spawns in high-sec on the edge of like high-sec and low-sec in 0.5 systems. But again, like they're always spawning in the same predictable systems. And so we really wanted to just add a site that while you're just moving around through high-sec, you can just find this like really cool Omba site and make some money. Yeah.
Sweet. Everyone likes making money,
Yeah.
I think. Which is why the new phased field sites are going to be super interesting, because they are going to be very high value, aren't they?
Yes, that's the goal, to make them very valuable. So we are introducing new type of mining sites and new type of mining gameplay, essentially with those sites. So those new sites will be the most valuable mining sites in the game. They will be rare and they will be risky. So those sites you will be able to find in low-sec and null-sec for now. Those are the primary areas where those sites will appear, and their rarity comes with the fact that they are so profitable. As in, the value of the site is in tens of billions ISK of the ore in the site, but also those sites will contain the new mineral or new type of ore, which we call prismaticite, which also will be the most expensive ore there is to mine in EVE. So mining prismaticite in those new phased field sites will be the most profitable mining activity in the game by far. So making those sites very attractive, but since they will be mostly in null-sec and low-sec, or exclusively in null-sec and low-sec right now, will make those mining operations quite risky, because those sites will expose themselves after a while, letting everyone know that those sites are in this particular system. So people mining there should be wary.
That is good knowledge to have. CCP Kestrel, can you explain how these sites work? Possibly by showing it off.
Sure, yes. I'm in one of the sites right now. One thing that I didn't show off is like how you get into this site normally, and that's going to be discovering it with scan probes. These will appear very rarely in low-sec and null-sec, and you'll have to, again, find them first with scan probes. And for the first half of the duration of these sites, on average, they'll last around 30 hours. And after it's gone, well, after this fracture's sort of gone past the halfway line, this site will become exposed, and every single person will be able to see it on the map, as well as anyone that's in the solar system. They will be able to see it on the overview and warp to it directly from the overview.
Have we got an exposed one right now?
Yes, so this one that I'm in right now is exposed. There is also some other ones that are exposed in the system. So this one I'm in here is exposed, but then also there's 2 more in the system that we've manually spawned, so you can see that they're here. And if I wanted to, I could just warp to this from the overview instead of scanning it down first.
So what does it look like on the map if you pull that up?
I don't think that is implemented yet.
Putting you on the spot here, sorry.
Oh, there we go. It is. I wasn't sure if it came in pretty hot, but yes, you'll be able to see that there's an exposed phased field here. And over here, there's another one here, for example, and then there's another one over here.
Is that a specific filter down there in the bottom then? That I'm now just seeing.
Yes, there is a mining filter here, and then we also have a phased filter, and then you could also, like, for example, add that to your favorites if you like, so it'll be discoverable on the map.
Sweet. And then you warp into the site. This one is about halfway now. Normally they look slightly different, but
yeah.
Tell me about what I'm seeing.
Right, so the site has a rift that kind of goes through it from the start point over through to the end point, where this phased field thing is the start point. So normally this thing that's called the fracture, which is a sphere, that will start here, and it will slowly move through the site down through the fracture until it reaches the end, at which point the site is over. While there is a phased asteroid in this fracture, that will become activated, or breached is the word we're using. So they can then be mined. You cannot mine them when they are not in the fracture, and when the fracture moves past them, they become collapsed. So this one over here, I'm not clicking on the prismaticite. I am being bad.
No.
But yes, this one, there we go. This one has collapsed because the fracture has already moved past it. So now it's unable to be mined. It's just stuck there. But this one that my raw core is next to is it is breached, but we haven't phased it in yet.
So what does the phasing in mean, CCP Nomad?
So what's important in this layout is that the sites cannot be completed by just dropping more people on them, because there's a cadence to those sites, right? Like each site will last, let's say, 40 hours, maybe 50 hours. And the prismaticite specifically will be available in those sites only at specific times, depending on where the fracture is relative to those phased asteroids in the site. So the site cannot be completed fully. And at the beginning, it is hidden. So who finds it first has about half of the lifetime of the site to mine undercover, essentially.
So let's say 20 hours-ish.
Let's say, yeah. And that would mean two first phased asteroids, two first asteroids with the prismaticite will be mineable while the site is still not exposed. After that, it becomes exposed, and those last two phased asteroids are much more viable than the first ones.
More risk, more reward.
Yes, exactly.
Now, this particular asteroid that CCP Kestrel was just showing us had a little line saying 10% efficiency. Can you explain a little about that?
Yeah, so normally when this has not been phased in yet, you can only mine prismaticite at 10% efficiency. So what you'll need to do is you'll need to deploy a mobile phase anchor deployable. These are fairly cheap. They're going to cost around 5 million ISK to build based on the current prices. And a raw core, Orca or Poipus, so the 3 industrial command ships are able to connect to it to start phasing it in. I'm in a raw core, which provides 100 energy, which is enough to phase it in by itself. But the Orca provides 50 energy, so you'd need 2 Orcas instead of a raw core, or you'd need 3 Poipuses, or you could also do a combination like 2 Poipuses and 1 Orca.
All right, and we have a new. I love that you're ahead of me here. I was just going to ask you to show the user manual, because this is a new addition to the show info window, and it does a great job explaining how this works.
Yeah.
So we were thinking about how to explain this feature because it has so many moving parts, essentially. Other times in EVE, we explained some complexity on the show info of modules or ships if they had special roles. But here we are talking about a site that doesn't have a card for it specifically. And initial idea was like, let's put some information in the agency as we usually do, and we do it this time as well. Mm-hmm. But additionally, we wanted to explain some specifics for the prismaticite or the phased asteroids, how they work, and the same for the deployable. How does it work and why you should be using it and how to use it? So we came up with this idea of introducing user manual tab in show info window for some specific items where we provide instructions, essentially, how to use this thing or how to behave around it or how to exploit it. And we're adding now this user manual only for those new elements in the game, but we'll expand that and we'll be adding them to other items in the game that you can show info on just to explain them better.
Is it going to be retroactively or just new items from here on out?
It's some retroactively for sure. Because, for example, today, most of that information is in the item description, and that is usually mixed with the lore, with the narrative. So we want to give this space a specific purpose, just explain what this is and how to use it, while the description can still provide some information about the lore or the narrative of the item.
Super cool. Now, if we go back to our mining site, you have deployed the anchor. You have connected to it, I believe.
Yep.
So what's next?
Yeah, so now this asteroid is phased in. One thing that's worth mentioning as well is the phase anchor has 10 charges. So that used one of the charges. And this will be phased in now for several minutes. I've just hopped into a retriever to start mining it. That was in my raw core, just to demonstrate the mining a bit better. But now you'll be able to get 100%, and we can also see some information here that it's phased in now on the bracket, and we also have some information about when it's going to collapse as well. So this will collapse in about 6 hours.
So if you zoom out now, have you just kind of pulled the asteroid out of the fracture, or is it just like more visual?
It's been phased in. So before it was kind of invisible and it was hard to see it. We might have an example of one that's like a bit further up here. This one is not breached yet, so it looks a bit different, but there's different graphics for each one. So this one here is...
It looks kind of cloaked.
Yeah, it's not there yet.
Yeah.
Right, so you cannot really interact with it. You can see this information on the expanded tooltip about time until it breaches. So this allows you to prepare a mining operation. Like if you see, okay, the next asteroid will breach in 5 hours, then you have 5 hours to get there. But
Get
also,
your fleet together.
yeah, but also maybe some hunters have seen that information too, and they will be ready when you come. So you have to consider that too.
Okay. Now, is there anything else we have missed about these sites so far, about how the phased field works?
So mainly this is collaborative site, as it requires multiple roles. Like regular sites, you can just go alone and mine them. Here too, you can go yourself or in a very small group without any command ships, industrial command ships, and just mine regular asteroids, because regular asteroids will be present in this site as well, and those will be
long list in the overview there.
Yeah, and those are all like grade 3 and grade 4, so like the best variants of the ores that are available. So even if you come here and without intention of mining the prismaticite, you can still make very good money just mining the other ore. But when it comes to prismaticite, you have to get a team. You need at least either one oracle or 2 orcas or 3 purposes to manage the deployable. And you need multiple deployables because they are expendable. You cannot scoop them back.
Yeah.
And you need to plan how to approach this site, right? Because at one time, only one of the phased asteroids will be available. There is a brief window of time where 2 asteroids are available to be phased in at the same time, but it's a very short time, but at the same time, very important period of time where you can drop here and try to mine 2 asteroids at once, although you will have very little time. So it's better to have a lot of people with you.
Yeah.
So you have to take into consideration a lot of factors that were not present in the gameplay before. You have to race against time, you have to plan, you have to coordinate with others.
It's not just hopping in your mining ship, going out and vibing. This one...
Yeah, exactly. Like this is much more dynamic. So far, the sites, like only what was dynamic so far in mining was only the presence of the sites themselves. The site itself wasn't dynamic in nature, right? It just had rocks, sometimes had NPCs, but that's about it. But here, the availability of the most valuable resource here is dictated by time and has specific cadence that you need to learn and plan around.
Is it possible for NPCs to show up in this site?
No.
Okay.
Not for now. I mean, these sites will be risky enough without the NPCs.
Yeah.
I think there might be some NPCs that show up when you mine some of the regular asteroids, the ones that can spawn in like the regular like null security and low security belts. But there's like no difficult NPCs. Like you won't need to bring like a mission ship or a defense ship to like handle the NPCs or anything like that.
Yep.
All right. Now, I think enough about the phase fields and how they work. I think we've covered most of it. Let's talk about the prismaticite. As this is rather special also, isn't it?
Yes, it is a new type of ore. We are calling these erratic ores, and this is the first one. So in nature, what's different about it is the fact that when reprocessed, it produces various outputs every time. So could you reopen the show info on it?
Sorry.
No worries. Right, so in the industry tab of regular asteroids, you will see that Veldspar reprocesses into titanium, and you will see the quantity it reprocesses into. When it comes to prismaticite, you have a list of 8 minerals that it can reprocess into, and it reprocesses, every batch reprocesses into one of those 8 at random, and with random quantity. So you can see the quantities, the minimum and maximum quantities of units indicated in the show info. And the quantity of the output is random between those 2 values. So in the example here, in the top right corner, where we have the reprocessing window open, you see that we have a lot of prismaticite. This is like 1 million batches, right? So 100 million units.
We're going to be rich.
Yeah. And we had to rework this window to support the fact that now the outputs can be varied, that they are not deterministic. So if you have multiple ores dropped here, the window will divide to show which ones are deterministic, which ones are not. And in this tooltip that we are showing right now, you will see the actually modified quantities depending on the facility efficiency and your skills that you are using to see what are the min and max quantities for each of the minerals per batch, right? One batch is 100 units as for any other ore. So that's what's new, right? There is some element of taking a risk to reprocess it in the trying to make it more profitable or more valuable, because the prismaticite, of course, will have its own value depending on the market and the supply and demand. But depending on how lucky you are with reprocessing, you may get more value if, for example, instead of tritanium, you will get more morphite or isogen or zidrine instead. So you can try your luck and reprocess it and see what you get, or you can actually control the output. You can decide that I want isogen out of it by using this new ore prismaticite in reactions. So here we are seeing the industry window where we have a reaction for unrefined isogen that consumes compressed prismaticite and requires some low moon materials. Right? I cannot see what moon material is. This one, atmospheric gases, right? And the output is 100 units of unrefined isogen. So we are introducing a new type of minerals that are called unrefined minerals, and those are coming as the output of those reactions. So you don't get pure isogen out of this reaction, but rather unrefined isogen that then you have to reprocess into isogen, so that the efficiency of the reprocessing facility and the skills come into play here. And also the unrefined minerals have undetermined quantity on the output. They have only min and max, and the quantity varies between, like for each batch. So there's a lot of new complexity for the industrialists to put into their Excel spreadsheets here.
There is indeed. So I can see like a situation where I am in dire need of isogen to make something, and so you'll take the catalyst away and turn it into isogen. So what is the benefit of doing it the reprocessing way?
So to do the reprocessing, you may just get lucky and have a lot more value, or simply you don't want to sell it. You can just keep it, and then we imagine like a lot of industrialists will just store the prismaticite itself because it's a vessel for the potential mineral, right? They can decide at some point what kind of mineral they need and just provide it through the prismaticite. But for the reprocessing itself, we imagine that miners that don't necessarily are manufacturers at the same time, they will be reprocessing the ore, they will be training the skills for it, just to see what kind of outcome they are getting. On average, of course, players will figure out what is the value of the prismaticite, and that will be its market value. So reprocessing a big batch will probably average out, and you may want to do that anyway because you will get more value depending on the market situation.
Okay. Have we missed anything on the prismaticite and
I mean,
fish
probably
fields, or the combination of both?
The most important thing is the fact that you can control the output makes this ore not only valuable as in ISK value, but also valuable as a potential, as I said before. That means that the general market supply of ores or minerals can self-balance, right? Because like we have some situations, or we had some situations in the past where a specific mineral was undersupplied and in very high demand, and that drove its price very high. And that's not necessarily a good thing in the long run. It's fine if it happens for a short spike, but in the long run, that's not necessarily healthy. But but introduction of prismaticite, or in general erratic ores that will be reprocessable into various minerals and especially can be controlled into what they are processing, will make it so that the market will self-balance. Because if specific mineral goes high enough in price, it will be always more profitable to refine prismaticite into that mineral than others. And this is what players are going to do, and that should impact the market.
All right. I think that covers most of the topics we had for today, unless CCP Castro thinks we've missed anything.
Yeah, I think we've got everything.
Sweet. Then just to summarize, the phase fields are going to be in low sag and in null sag. If you want to go ninja mining, you can, because there is high valuable ore in the sites.
Yep.
If you want to go for the prismaticite, you have to time well and bring people, plus
Yes.
command ships.
Plus the deployables. You have to be prepared to. I mean, you can mine it at 10% efficiency and you still will come off better than mining or in high sec, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, if you can make it so that you can mine it at 100% efficiency, then that's the best mining, most valuable mining activity in the game.
All right, so come prepared. I think on that note, we will close off this stream. Thank you both for coming, and I hope we have given you guys more information about what is going to come to the game in a little less than 2 weeks at this point. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.